And you're here, guys. Please say hello. And if you're seeing the replay, please hashtag replay. We will appreciate that. Thank you for being here in Soul Talk. Oh, forgot to record. Well, hi everyone. This is Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love, and we're here in Soul Talk. And we're having here a very special guest for us. Her name is Trish Bowie. And I'm gonna be reading a little bit of her herself. So like that, we everybody knows who she is, that she's she's an amazing person, an amazing human being, an amazing healer too, and teacher. And Trish Bowie is an author, speaker, and founder of her company, Divine Compassion Multidimensional Healing System in the Western Canada Reiki Training Center. She herself is a transformational multidimensional coach guide. Having experienced a deep loss at a very young age through her life, Trish struggled emotionally, spiritually, and physically in many years, fearing that all the males she loved would be taken from her through loss. Through her own personal growth, faith, and connection to divine, Trish has able to overcome the challenges, fears from the future that is now living her life, a purpose in the inner peace. Trish is passionate about sharing her story and healing with others. Trish is gifted in her ability to show compassion and unconditional love while encouraging growth and healing from within. Trish's positive outlook of faith of the divine, along her skills, training, and experience with a coach and healing, make her someone you want to have in your corner as you navigate in the challenges of life. She's a manifesting queen, senior Reiki Usui, Tibetan master, Karuna master, Shambhala master, and Heal Your Life facilitator and coach. And you can find more information in the description where you can find her. Trish, welcome to Soul Talk. We are really welcome to have you here.
Thank you, Monica.
It's the second try. The first one, it was not the time. No, it was not the perfect timing. This is the one.
This is it. Thank you, Monica, for having me.
Thank you, Trish. Trish, I would like to ask you more about your journey. How do you become who you are now?
Okay. Well, I like to say my journey started when I was around 24 years old. I had loss before that in my life. My father died when I was 13, and I didn't have any grandparents after the age of 8. They had all passed on. And so when I was 24, my husband died of a drowning accident in my yard. And we had a water supply. It was called the dugout, and that was our drinking supply. And he was in a boat with my 4-year-old son, and they were purifying the water with bluestone. Gets rid of the algae in the water out in the country. And so they were doing that, and my son called out to me and said, "Mom, he said, Daddy, we're going to drown." And my husband normally would say, "Oh, that's ridiculous," but he didn't. He brought him to the shore, and I took my son out of the boat, and my son asked me to go get him some juice, which I did. We were just sitting. I had my little baby, and well, she was 14 months old, and my son, and we were sitting on the grass having juice, and I could hear in the background this grunting and splashing. And so I ran to see what was happening. I put my baby in the crib, and I went out, and my husband his back was turned to me. He was out of the boat, and he was just like, wavering in the water, trying to, keep himself up. And I said, hang on, and I'll get you a rope. And I looked, and I could only see a garden hose. And so I threw this garden hose out to him. And by the time I got into the water, I couldn't find him. He had disappeared. And so I had, I just had my shirt and my panties on. I threw my pants off, and I was swimming and looking for him, but I couldn't find him. It was a 1 million gallon dugout, so it was huge. And so I called for my 4-year-old to call for help. And, you know, he knew at 4 years old how to phone everybody. So he was trying to phone everybody, all the family. And anyway, unfortunately, we couldn't find him. Skin divers came. It took them an hour to find him. So I was 24 and I was, you know, I knew what it's like. I watched my mom. She was a young widow and I knew I never wanted to be that, but I had to face reality really fast. I didn't have a driver's license. I had all our money was frozen. There was no will. And we lived 30 miles to the closest town. So I had to grow up really, really fast. The sad part is when you have to face grief like that, and we were in a Northern Alberta community and there was no help. There was no grief support or anything like that. And lots of times what happens is you suppress. And even though there are grief support out there, many people will still suppress their grief. And so I was so young and I suppressed my grief and I put a smile on my face and I was trying to be happy for everybody. Well, unfortunately, you know, I started getting physical symptoms started showing up. So I started having asthma, fibromyalgia. I had to have back surgery the first year after my husband died. If you know, read Louise Hay's book, it's not feeling supported, right? And so I had that. I had my gallbladder out a year after that, my appendix out a year after that. So I was starting to get lots and lots of physical illnesses because of suppressing my grief. And then I met another man and he was wonderful. And we 5 years later got married and had a child together. And, you know, I thought that I was happy and all that stuff would go away, but it was still there. I had still suppressed it. And my husband and I moved to Central Alberta. It was a dream. I wanted to be close to my family again. And so we moved this, you know, sort of between both of our families, about an hour and a half apart from both families. And I noticed I was still having lots of physical issues showing up. And so I had to go to the hospital. I couldn't lift a cup of coffee anymore. I had no muscle strength. And the doctors actually thought I was dying of a disease. It's an illness that affects the respiratory. So they were checking my respirations every 15 minutes to make sure I was okay. And that night when I went to go to sleep, I just prayed and said, what is this? You know, what is wrong with me? And I felt a warmth, just warmth come through me and go through my body. And the word stress came through, excuse me. And so I just thought, stress, wow, stress could do this to me. The doctor came in the morning and I told him, the nurse said, he's been up all night worrying about you. And I said, don't worry, I know what it is. And he said, you do? How do you know? And I said, I just got this message during the night and I was told it was stress. And he said, you need to, if you believe that, you need to really start taking care of yourself. He said, I saw patients end up in wheelchairs because of this. I've seen people go blind because of stress. And so I took his advice and I thought, okay, I have to find a way to deal with this. But in the meantime, a friend told me about Reiki. And I thought Reiki was weird. And so I grew up a very strong Catholic, and she was telling me about this. I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. I don't want a treatment. But I got, you know, when you get sick enough and you've got children and you've got a family, sometimes you just have to surrender. And so I surrendered, and I let her do a Reiki treatment on me. And she did that treatment and I felt honestly so amazing. At the end of that treatment, I could do so much. It was unbelievable. So then I had the treatment. I said, can you come back? So she came back 2 times that week and she did Reiki. I had so much energy. I could make a big meal for my family. I was just out of the hospital, but all of a sudden I was really, really strong, and it was amazing. I thought, I have to learn how to do this. So I had family members. My father died at 51. My brother had had a few heart attacks in his 50s. My mother had had a heart attack. My father's brothers had quadruple bypasses. My mother's brother had quadruple bypass. I'm like, I thought, I'm not going to even see 50 years old, because I had chest pains, and I thought, I'm doomed. So I said to this girl, I have to learn how to do that Reiki. I have to be able to help my family. And that was the start of my journey. I took Reiki training, and then I eventually became a Reiki master. And then that wasn't good enough. I had to know more. And so I became a Karuna master, and then a Shambhala master, and then I created my own healing system as well. And I opened a wellness center.
What is the difference between all those Reiki techniques?
Oh,
I
thanks
am a Reiki master, but I some of them I have never even heard, and but I would like to know more about it.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. So Usui Reiki is the Reiki that majority of people out there are taking. That's your Reiki that was founded by Dr. Usui, and people from all over the world are using that kind of Reiki system. Karuna Reiki, you need to wait 6 months to 1 year to be able to actually become a Reiki master. I teach it all at once, and I took it all together, all levels together as well. And it's, you receive 8 plus, depending on how many symbols you have before you take that training, at least 8 more symbols. And they're very specific symbols that intensify the energy that you would have in the Usui system. So it's a stronger energy and very specific. So it can work on past life. It can work on, let's see, if somebody has been abused, addictions. It's very, very specific. And so when I say 6 months to a year, it depends on how much Reiki that master is doing already, the Usui master. If you're a Usui master and you're not teaching and you're not using the energy, then I want you to wait for a year until you are using it more. That's the reason. But if you're a master who got after it and is doing lots and lots of work on yourself and lots of teaching, then you could be possibly ready in 6 months to become a Karuna master. So Shambhala is super, super strong energy. In Usui Reiki, for example, you'll receive 3 symbols by level 2. Level 3, you have another symbol, which is the master symbol. And then if you take your Tibetan masters, you receive a couple of more symbols. But in Shambhala, you have 352 symbols that are downloaded into you. And so it was such a powerful energy, considering I was so afraid of energy and all of that, I didn't understand it earlier on. It's amazing I went this far in energy work. And the Shambhala, like I say, I was opened up to 352 symbols from here to the divine. And so it's very powerful energy. You don't memorize the symbols, they're downloaded into you. And through the meditations, through the initiation, you and your meditation and dialogue with the divine, you then start revealing the symbols. The symbols start revealing themselves. Because they're so powerful is the reason that they're not given to the student to know right away. It's something that it's almost, you have to work towards it. So the thing with Shambhala is it forces you to love. I always say it forces you to love. What, you know the saying, Monica, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
It's not like that. No, go around, come around. It's instant. You have a thought that's negative, bam, you got it back in your face. Like there's no space. So you are truly forced to love. You have to think nice of people, think kindly, have compassion for people. If you start thinking negative, it just comes back at you instant. And so it
But
was,
I have
go ahead.
noticed that I have noticed actually right now with the energies that they're so strong right now. The manifestation is way faster, for
Yes.
positive or negative. People needs to be aware of their emotions and thoughts in this moment. And I don't know how that can be more amplified, because I see the manifestations in a second, and how it can be even faster with Shambhala.
So fast. It's so fast. Like you don't even have time to think about it. You just have to be kind and loving. You have to be, you can't you don't want to take that training with anger or unresolved issues. You want to come into the training with a loving heart. And luckily, I say this luckily, because when I took it, I had done a lot of inner work. And so I did go in with an open heart. I did go in with my issues. I had worked on them. So I was really, really clear when I took the training. But many of the people who had taken it at that time weren't as clear. So it was kind of difficult for some of them. Now in Divine Compassion, this
Mhm.
is a system that I created myself. And the reason that happened is many years ago when I first started with Reiki, there were a lot of well, not a lot. I had some naysayers around me. So people who were like, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's not good energy. You don't know what that is. You don't know where that energy is coming from. I mean, it was just unbelievable, the limited beliefs that some people have, but I had it as well. So I was pretty understanding that way. And when I first took Reiki, I was so amazed as how the priest came to talk to me, the pastor in our community came to talk to me, the minister came to talk to me, because I had this building that had a Reiki training center on it in big letters, and that was back in 2000.
Yes,
So
because
you
they
can imagine.
all the religions are, of course, they don't want people to actually know about. I remember I grew up as a Catholic. I went with a nun school, and something that they taught us in there, if you wanted to talk to God, you have to go first with a priest, so the priest
Yes.
can talk to God through you, so for you. And it's like, that's something that I also teach my students, like, no, you can't do the connector, the direct connection without intermediaries.
Yeah, actually, so they didn't challenge me in a negative way. It was amazing. All those clergy or whatever however you want to call them, it wasn't negative. They wanted to come and understand it. They wanted to have an understanding as to what is this that people are talking about. And so I think I was a good advocate because I grew up very religious. I think I was able to, speak to them with kindness and compassion. And it was a sister, a Catholic nun, that taught me my first Reiki. She taught me all my levels and my masters.
Wow.
Oh, yes, I'm sure, Monica, I was very religious. I'm sure I would never have taken it if I didn't have her teaching at first. Now I say I'm very spiritual. I'm more a spiritual person. And to me, religion is learning about God. And, I'm sure feeling, but to me, for me, it was more learning about God. And spirituality was experiencing God and actually feeling God.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
never felt God when I was just religious. And so, anyway, it really bothered me that friends of mine that were very religious wouldn't come for Reiki treatment. They would go to emergency for Demerol shots instead for headaches. And they thought what I was doing was maybe, wrong.
Yeah,
And so I felt sad. I felt really sad about that because I knew I could help them. And so honestly, I just prayed and I just said, please, please guide me. Show me a way that I can touch lives everywhere. My passion is to help people all over the world to heal. That is my passion. That is what I work towards. And I love people. I have always loved people and I feel people. So I'm so intuitive and I just can feel pain and I can feel sadness and I've changed a lot. I've learned how to now be an observer instead of picking up all that energy and feeling everybody's pain. I now observe their pain. And so that's been growth. That's been spiritual growth. But I asked for guidance. And one day when I was working on a client, I was told spiritually to create this system called divine compassion, to call this energy work divine compassion. And I was shown how to do this treatment. And I was shown how to teach the class while I was treating a client. It was just like all the pictures were coming in. And so I decided to do that. And I taught a course called Divine Compassion, Grandmothers of the Earth, for several years. And psychics would always say, you have a system and it's so big. And I would say, yeah, I have a system called Divine Compassion. They go, nah. And they would get excited about the name, but they said, no, it's bigger though. And I never saw it for many, many years until this year. I got to see, I had all the downloads come through of how I was to teach this class. And I had major surgery the end of January. And before I went under, I said three things while they had the mask on me. I said, let my body accept this surgery. Please let my body accept these drugs because I never take drugs because of my allergies. And please let my body accept the foreign object they're putting into me. And I came out of that surgery, Monica, I had no pain at all.
I remember your recuperation was just fabulous. It was so fast. So fast. I remember when you had the surgery. It was so fast.
So unbelievable. And, they told me that I would be bleeding for a long time. They told me I have lots of these things going on. And I came out, when I was out of the recovery room, what would you like for pain? I said, I don't have any pain. So I never had any painkillers at all, not one after surgery. I've never had one since, and it's been 2 months, and I'm just amazed. What I did do is in the beginning, I used Karuna Reiki. And after that, I thought, why am I using Karuna? Why am I not using my own system? And so I changed to my own system and amazed, like I've had amazing recovery that I can't even express how good.
The other day, I was with a group of healers and so forth, and they were talking about animals with Reiki. And they were asking me, it works, I'm a Reiki master. And like, yes, I have tried it with my cat and it works wonderful. But to what extent I have not practiced it beside my cat. And I know many people are very interested to become coaches and so forth of animals. Not necessarily to teach them where to pee. I'm talking about to heal them and communicate with them in a bigger level. And they're using Reiki, some of them. Yeah. So do you have more to add to that?
Whatever you want to know. I've been doing it for 20 some years, 25 years, 26 years. Yes, definitely. Animals have been amazing. We live on a farm here. We have a ranch. And so I have had the opportunity to see what Reiki has done to dying calves, little baby calves that were dying. My son and I would do Reiki on those little calves, and often they would bounce back. And even though I had allergies, I would still attempt to do some healing on them. And you can also do distance healing from a distance. I was able to, we had a horse that it started going kind of crazy in the pen. And when we put it in the barn and we had the vet come in and I was sending Reiki, my hands started to do this, and I was quite far from this horse. And the vet had the stethoscope and was checking the horse, and the heart rate had changed, and the vet looked at me, and there I was like this, sending Reiki. And it turned out that I said to my husband, that horse has a brain tumor. And that's why it was going crazy. And sure enough, it passed, but that's what it was. It was a brain tumor. And so sometimes then I realized, you know, I was intuitive. I was starting to pick up things, and I just knew, had a knowingness for what was going on with people. I would run my hands along them. I knew where the pain was. I knew where things were. I could feel energetically. And you know, I also have done a lot of work with First Nation. And so I have done lots of extractions, taking out bad medicine, lots of different types of healing. And that was hard for me. I don't, you know, when that first started, I didn't know why I was being blessed with that gift because, you know, I was the First Nations, and I just didn't understand how come I was being given this ability to do the things I was doing. But I am so grateful. I do it with everybody. I've done it over the phone. I've done it over Zoom. I just think it's fabulous. And I really believe, this is my belief, Monica, if you take Reiki and you never treat another person, never treat a person, that's fine. But take it for yourself. If nothing else, take it for yourself, because you always have your hands. Well, hopefully, but you can use other parts if you don't. I mean, that's what's so amazing about it. And you channel that beautiful, loving energy into you, that healing light. Beautiful.
I have used the way how I use the Reiki is, of course, I don't have all this Kahuna or Tibetan or whatever other techniques that you have, other symbols that you have. I went more into different route, but I still more in BQ and in hypnosis or N.L.P, and I bring out the Reiki in there, so to balance, align, clear, and activate the chakras and so forth. But I use it in a very different way that any Reiki practitioner will use it. But that's only me. I do have a question, Trish. What is Dream Weaver, and what do you mean with that, and how do you use it with your clients?
So I had a client, and I'm a coach. I do spiritual coaching, soul coaching, whatever you want to call it. When I coach people, I'm very intuitive, and so I often channel, or I'm told certain things to say to those people. And so I said to this one of my clients, I don't know, what do you even call me? Because I didn't even know what to call myself by then. And she said, you are transformative. You are a dream weaver. And I said, oh, what does that mean? And I knew it meant, and she said it, you help transform my life, and you just helped me to achieve my dreams. You helped me to get to where I needed to get. She was very spiritual, and she was very high level energy person. You know, she did a lot of inner work, this girl.
But how do you use it with your clients?
Just through talking them through, and because I channel information, then I call them on their stuff. I'm not fluffy. I'm not just going to sit there and tell them what they want to hear. I want to tell my coaching clients, my soulmate clients, I call them, because they are walking often my path, or they're walking the path I walk. And so I just really help them to see what they're missing. I'll call them on things, you know, they'll think, oh, I really, really care about this person, but not that much, you know, not that. And I'm like, yes, you do. You care about them more than you say, right? Like I'll call them on it right away. I don't hold back, because me being fluffy and holding back isn't going to help them to achieve their dreams.
I totally agree with you. I understand that when you put too much fluffy, people don't get it. You have to be sometimes direct, so direct that sometimes even hurts, but you're not doing it with the point of trying to hurt. You're doing it with the point of actually help. And
Exactly. And I
and
have the most
very different.
beautiful clients. I can't even express how beautiful my coaching clients are, because I can hear them sometimes gasp when I say something, and then right away they come back and say, you know what, you shocked me, but you're right.
I had therapies with you. It was very, very profound. It was very, very healing. I felt that I was releasing a lot of pain that it was stuck in me, and forgiveness that I was needing to do. And it was very, very profound. And yes, I have experienced that. I highly recommend you guys to go with Trish. She's really, really good.
So that treatment that you're talking about is Shambhala. That's what I call Shambhala, the Bowie method. And so it's a treatment that I was able to do after I took the Shambhala training, but the other people didn't do it the same way. It's something I developed with that energy. And it is very powerful, Monica, and I'm glad that you felt that and you noticed that, because it's life-changing for many of my clients.
Yes. I have a question. I know that we used to do things in a different way before COVID. We used to have one-on-one, or we used to have groups of people, and COVID just turned all that completely upside down, and we were forced, all the coaches or healers, to do it in a different way. And some of them did, some of them didn't. But how it was for you?
Wow, that's a really good question. Okay, so for me, Monica, a couple of amazing things happened before COVID hit. One of them was I did a Shambhala treatment over the phone, and I never, ever, ever knew I could do that. And I was coaching a girl on the phone, and she was in very bad shape. And I said, oh, I wish you could come here so I could do Shambhala on you. And she said, well, I live too far away. She's about 8 hours from me. So she says, I can't come. I said, I wonder if I could do it on the phone. And so I did, and it worked, and it was great. And so I found that out, first of all, before COVID. Then I hired a coach, a business coach, as you know, before COVID hit.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. Excuse me. And so I hired her, and I didn't know how to even use Zoom, Monica. I did not do any lives on Facebook. I only kind of knew how to market myself a little bit on Facebook. You know, through the event, doing an event, that's what I would do. I just was clueless. And I always said I felt like the electronic end of my business was really lacking. And it was the one thing that was holding me back, was my lack of knowledge. Because my whole life in business, my whole focus has been on my passion has been towards my clients. I didn't care about all the electronics. I figured I'll hire somebody to do that. I'm here to help people to heal. And so then I heard about this business coach, Rosalind, and I went to her 5-day free challenge, and she was young and she was energetic, and I was getting all excited as I was, you know, doing her 5-day challenge. And I thought, she's putting a spark in my life again. Monica, I'm 64 years old. I'm almost 65. And to have that youth spark put into me again was just like a godsend. And she got me excited.
You're still young, please.
What's that?
You're still young. And when you're willing to learn, look where to learn all about this technology.
Yeah. And so anyway, she was super energetic. And I thought, well, I'll go and I'll get her to be my coach, which was very costly to be one-on-one coaching with her. So I signed the contract, and it was a lot of money. And I signed a contract with her, so I couldn't back out. And COVID hit. And I thought, oh my gosh, here I just signed this very expensive contract, and I have to shut my doors. Nobody can come in for treatments or for training. I created, when I first said to her, I will take your coaching if I can create that money. And I talked to her on a Thursday. I said, if I can have the money by Monday, I will hire you. And I'm sure she was rolling her eyes when I said that. And I hung up the phone, and I called this one group that was going to hire me, and it was $5,600. And I thought, there's part of the money, you know. And I thought, okay, I'm going to teach Reiki. I'm going to teach Heal Your Life. And so I started developing all these classes like in 3 days. Monday, I was short $500. I had most of the money. So I knew that $500 would come, and I hired her. But then, like I said, the doors closed. The $5,600, I didn't get that money because I couldn't teach it. The Reiki classes got canceled. The Heal Your Life classes I had to cancel because of COVID. And I was just sick. I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? So I actually thought, I'm going to pay attention, see what she has to say. But she's so young and energetic, and she's saying all this stuff, and it's just going like this over my head because I didn't have a clue. She's talking about algorithms. I didn't know what an algorithm was. I was afraid to ask because all the young people knew exactly what she was talking about. And I just sat there just like lost. I was so lost. I finally had to say to her, I said, Rosalind, I need some space. I need some space. You need to just back up, and I need to think for a week or so and comprehend what I just heard. And so I said, don't worry, I'll come out full force. And I did. And it was amazing. And I started to learn how to use Zoom, and I started to go on Facebook, but I was so scared, Monica, the first time. I wore a black coat. I was in Banff. It was nighttime. I had a black sunglasses on. My hair was dark. I did have a white hat on, but hoping that nobody could see me because I was so shy. And so I just feel like I've come such a long way. I teach on Zoom all the time. This has been the greatest success in my life. COVID has given me the greatest success in my life.
I can say that it is funny and not, because it's been a tragedy for the worldwide. Many people had died, many people
Yes.
have got really sick and so forth. But the ones that we open up to a different possibility, so a different way of working or healing or teaching or whatever, is being actually a blessing in so many ways. They have asked me the other day if I will, now that they're starting to open up more business, if I will go and rent the space and work one-on-one over there with people. Like, no, I will stay at home. I like working online. Why? Because I'm connected to the world.
Yes. Yes.
And that is very different than before, that you only depend on locals. And this is open to the world. We can work with anybody in any part of the world. And we just have to figure it out the hours. That's the only tough part, to figure it out. But that's it.
Exactly. It's been a miracle as far as I'm concerned. My whole spiritual life, I wanted to work all around the world helping people.
Yes.
Then I said, last year before COVID. I said, maybe this is my world. Maybe Canada is my world. Maybe I'm not going beyond there, because I went to Cyprus one time to teach, but I haven't done a lot of teaching outside of Canada. And so I thought, well, maybe Canada's my world. And now I'm like, I have my world right here.
Yes.
I now will achieve that dream.
Yes.
And just to be able to touch lives and to be able to be there for whoever needs me now. I've expanded myself, and you have, and it's been exciting. And I love the fact that we've connected because of, mastermind class. And
We wanted to know how our business was, our coaching, our teaching, our healings, and so forth. We can do it online. That's how we met Ross. And it's important to connect with a coach of business for us. And actually, I believe for almost every single business, even as an artist.
yes,
As an artist, I knew that before I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of money shipping my art to galleries that they never sold, to Europe, to Italy, to different places in the world that they never sold, I would save a lot of money. But that did not exist before, or the curiosity was not there before the COVID.
yes,
COVID brought that curiosity and forced us to get out of our comfort zone and look
yeah.
for coaches like Ross that actually really flip completely our way of observing things and doing and giving information to the world.
It's been very, very exciting. And, financially, I made more in 2 months than I made in a year. It just totally changed everything there. But for me, really my passion is about the people, and it is about touching lives. It's more that than, it's not about like how much money I can make doing all this. It's
Yes,
how many lives I can touch. Who can I help to heal? Who can I help through their grief? You name it.
because now we don't not only help local people, we also help worldwide. Whoever wants to be ready, whoever is ready to transform their lives, there are coaches that are always going to be there to help them out. It doesn't
It's
matter. I take a lot of classes in New Zealand,
yeah.
and I never visit in person. I will, but I continue taking classes in New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many opportunities. Like I've taken so many different classes, and some of them I haven't even like had a chance to finish them because I'm teaching so many classes now. It's just wonderful. And then, as you know, I just launched my Divine Compassion, the full system, the 3-part system, and so that's been super exciting as well. And just making it busier, and it's like, how do I know where to stop, right? Like, because there's so many things.
Can you tell us a little bit what are they going to be learning in Divine Compassion?
Yeah, sure. So in the first level of Divine Compassion, it's first of all, it's energy as well. And people have to be a Usui, they have to have their Usui master symbol to even be able to take this training, because it's so powerful. And so in the first level, it's about self-healing. And so they'll receive abundance of love symbols so that they can channel in this abundance of love for themselves. We reactivate a power symbol so they can do self-healing, and they do self-forgiveness as well. And in the second level, it's about helping other people to heal. And so we do work on forgiving other people to start with, and then we talk about receive more symbols. In the second level, they also learn how to do an energy massage. And so I teach them that, and it's one that I used to do on clients many years ago when I had a wellness center in our town. And it's used powder, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. And so they'll learn that in the second level. And then there's 2 parts to the third level. So the third level, day 1, they're going to learn again a Reiki massage, how to give a Reiki massage. And in level 2, they receive 2 more symbols. Level 3, they receive level 3, day 1, they receive another symbol, and they learn how to do it, this energy Reiki massage. And then and there's lots of meditations, powerful meditations as well through these classes. And then in level 3, day 2, that is when I open their channel to 352 symbols, the Shambhala symbols. And so very powerful energy. And then again, teach them some very powerful multidimensional. So they're working in multidimensional. I lost my train of thought, but that they'll be doing multidimensional healing. They'll learn how to do the healing like I did on you, with you, the Shambhala healing.
In your bio, you said that you were a transformational, multidimensional coach and guide. How do you use this with your clients, or how do you teach people about multidimensionality? It's a very, for the ones we are working with multidimensional entities or beings, it's easy to understand, but not everybody understand or grasp what do we mean with this. Can you explain it more?
Just higher being, first of all, I must just hit it really lucky, because my clients that I have, when I go to treat them, I tell them I'm working on the cellular memory. We're going to the cellular memory. So it's somewhere that they can't go on their own as a rule, right? They can't normally get that deep. And so when I do that Shambhala Bowie method treatment, we're able to pull up all these things, all these people to forgive. And, I tend to work lots with archangels. I work with the divine. Mother Teresa is one of my mentors from many years ago. I had so much admiration for her compassion that she had for people. I call on different ascended masters, I guess you could say. That's where I go when I'm calling on that energy and that asking for that help for those people. And so I don't have people question me. I just tell them we're working on the cellular memory, and away we go. And they never ask questions.
I do find fear, and more when with the religious people. We go back to when the people were asking you, oh, the priest went to talk to you and so, or because you were working with energies, and you tell them, oh, I'm working with the divine and things like that. In that time, they will freak out. Now you're more empowered of standing up in your truth, because you grasp it way better. You've been doing this for what, 30, 40 years?
No, I've only been doing it for about 26, but the priests and the ministers, they didn't freak out. They were actually really comfortable with me when I would explain. I think they were freaked out before. And then when they came, I would tell them, I'm calling on God. I'm working with God.
And I believe now there are certain religions like the Catholic and Jewish, and there are several religions that they still open up more than they used to. They used to be very close to all this, to work.
Everybody was.
Yes, but now at least they're a little bit more open. They still, for some religions, that they're very close-minded, that this is juju. But I have seen that openness in them, and opening at least the curiosity to know about it. That doesn't have to do anything with any. We're working with energy of light. With love.
It's pure light and love. And I think they see that, and they're using it in the hospitals all over the place. And I think that's the thing. When I first started Reiki, it was a big secret. People were kind of hiding in the closet. They weren't talking about it. They were afraid to talk about it. I started writing for a Central Alberta magazine, talking about Reiki freely, and started teaching hundreds and hundreds of people. And I've never I think so highly of Reiki and what it has done for my life and how it healed my life. And I continue to Reiki myself every single day. See, that's another thing. People can take the training, but if you're not doing it on yourself, if you're not treating yourself every day, you're not going to have the enlightenment that I've maybe been able to have because of it. So sometimes people will say, well, how come you're like this? And I say, because I do it every day. You know, I connect to that divine energy every day. I dialogue every day. I'm just, like I said, I'm very spiritual. I'm not this super religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. And it's so amazing when you have that connection with the divine, and then you just feel that love and light coming through you just by asking. You know, you're not going to sit there becoming lonely and depressed and sad. You're not going to have those feelings, because the divine is coming through you and it's going to fill your soul, fill your heart, and keep you from being lonely.
But we, at the same time, we're still having a human experience. And like I mention all the time, like we were already ascended, because we don't have any issues, we would not be here.
Yeah.
And I don't care, it was Mother Teresa. When she was alive, she was still working with herself.
That's right.
And now that she ascended or transmuted whatever plane she is at, she don't have to deal with all these issues as humans we do, like depression, fear, lonely, or that feeling, that separation, and so forth, that or limiting beliefs that keep you stuck. How do you manage those limiting beliefs and so forth? You only manage it with energy, with symbols, or you put them to work with their issue that is actually limiting them?
How do I manage them on myself?
No, with your clients.
With my clients? So I just, again, I talk with them. I'm using symbols. I'm using the energy. I'm calling on the divine. I'm helping them work through, when I put my hands over my clients right from the beginning, I just, I ask for guidance to guide me to help that person to heal. And I get again, messages, guidance, triggers. I'll trigger them and I'll say, oh, your heart, I feel so much pain around it. What's happening? And then they're crying. It's like, and then they start telling me what's going on. And I think it's just a combination of the energy, the symbols take you to a higher level. Definitely. What I have found, the more symbols that I have been initiated to, the higher I've ascended.
Mm-hmm.
So that I have noticed. But that doesn't mean I go in there with a big, heavy energy, high energy on you. Come for a Reiki treatment. I'm not going to start using Shambhala on you. You asked me for a Reiki treatment, so you're going to get that nice, gentle little Reiki treatment. But if you got lots of issues, then I'm going to say to you, you know what? You might want to try Shambhala. Or you might want to try divine compassion. So it's like creating the right thing for that client. I'm I have many modalities, and I just take whatever I need for that person. I like to specialize for that client.
Trish, I know that you're starting classes and you have classes ongoing, but you have one that is about to start. Can you tell us more about, because we might have some people interested in
Okay, well, I've got lots of classes. Starting tomorrow, I'm teaching Reiki level 1, and then Reiki level 2 next week. I also have level 3 coming up in Reiki. I have master classes coming up in Reiki. My divine compassion starts on April 10th. So people still have time to squeak in there. I'm just sending out the manuals tomorrow. So they have to be able to read their manual, and they have to be able to memorize their symbols, because the teaching is all done on Zoom. All my classes are done on Zoom. And I want to just quickly, do we have time? I just want to quickly talk about that. I never believed in Reiki training online, because it's energy work, until COVID hit, and I started using the Shambhala energy symbols to open my students' channels. And I was very, very confident that it worked on Zoom. So I do all my teaching on Zoom now. I do have Karuna classes in person in June. So the Karuna Masters, that will be happening in person, praying that we'll be able to do that. And yeah, ongoing classes. So the best thing for people, because I don't have my class, I just took down my one web page that had all my classes. I don't have all my classes on my newer web page, but people can definitely get a hold of me, email me, and then I will definitely give them my schedule if there's any interest.
I did put your email in the information, guys. If you're interested in any of the classes, you can find reikitraining@gmail.com, or well, the Divine Compassion, you said you don't have it right now, the page, right?
I have my Divine Compassion email or Divine Compassion webpage is up. Yes, but there's no classes on it. They were on my other webpage. So it's just a matter of getting those on there. But if people contact me, they can contact me also through Facebook Messenger. And I'm more than happy to fill them in, and I accommodate people. If they can't do classes on a certain date and they want to take training, I'll let them pick the date, and then we'll start building a class on that date as well.
Yes. And do you have something else that you would like to add, Trish?
I think that's good. I don't know. I think that's good. I'm also a Heal Your Life facilitator. So I facilitate Louise Hay's Heal Your Life classes, if anybody's interested.
That book actually is the one that changed my life, and I was very, very sick, and that book actually give me the information enough so I can work it with myself.
For me as well.
Yes,
It was an excellent book. It's
yes,
excellent.
I always recommending that book to everybody. Everybody should have it, actually.
Yeah, it's so good. And so I have a workshop coming up in May on Zoom, and there's 3 Sunday nights in May, 3 hours each evening. And so I'll be facilitating that as well.
Well, guys, and we thank you guys. We thank you for being here, and Soul Talk, and thank you, Trish. We really appreciate to have you here. And the next week, we're gonna have Lindsay Erin Rice from New Zealand. That she's one of my classmates of N.L.P, and also she do circles of the moon and different therapies. And she's really amazing, and we will have her. But the next month, we're going to be starting at 8 p.m. Central Time. So I hope to see you guys there. And thank you, Trish. I really, really appreciate that. Finally, we did it.
We finally, and thank you so much, Monica. You know how much I love you. So this has been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for
listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Griselda and Maria Tiburcio. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too.